Welcome to this brief tutorial on a look into the history, culture, and government of the Pascua Yaqui tribe of Arizona. The information in this tutorial was prepared by the TUSD Native American Student Services Department. Let's begin. The Pascua Yaqui tribe is one of 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona. Their official name is Pascua Yaqui Tribe of Arizona on their federal register. There's another band of Yaqui in the United States located in East Texas, but they do not hold federal recognition status. The following is a brief history of the Arizona-based Yaqui. The following passage is a first-person account of how the Pascua Yaqui came to be recognized. Because our tribe is so young, federal recognition changed many things for us. As a child born in the early 1970s, we were only known as Yaqui. We were neither American Indian or Native or Mexican because we were just us. My parents and grandparents used to tell me, "You are a person, you are Yaqui." In 1978, when we were recognized as a tribe, we were called Indian or American Indian. As I grew and went into high school, I was then Native American, American Indian, and in college, I learned I was indigenous. Through it all, and in each tribe, we called ourselves people. We are beings, and I have always been Yaqui. The true center and homeland of the tribe are 8 pueblos, which cluster around the mouth of the Rio Yaqui in Sonora, Mexico. The 8 pueblos in Sonora are in the shape of the Big Dipper. Many families travel back and forth to maintain relationships with family and for ceremonial purposes. The names of the 8 pueblos in Sonora can be seen on the screen here. The first 8 streets on the Pascua Yaqui Reservation are named after the pueblos in Mexico. The Pascua Yaqui creation story begins with the Sudem. There is no description of what they looked like, but only that they were little people who, upon learning of what the future held, split into 2. One party either went back into the ocean or turned into black ants and lived underground. The other party stayed to form who the Yaquis are today. The following passage is from another first-person account. Here in Tucson, the first settlement was in the area near I-10 and Grant Road. It is known as Old Pascua. Other members of our tribe settled in 1880 in the town of what is now Guadalupe. My grandparents settled here because it was near the Santa Cruz River, the railroad, and what was soon to be the interstate. They lived in mud or adobe and wood homes. The Pascua Yaqui Association was made up of 10 members, led by Mr. Anselmo Valencia. Together, they met with Senator Barry Goldwater, who helped advocate for land and who advocated for federal recognition of our people. The first-person account continues. The above pictures are of the 202.76 acres we were granted southwest of Tucson. For those who are familiar with the area, the mountain in the back is the one Hohokum Middle School is up against. There was no infrastructure on the land. It had 1 or 2 faucets and no electricity. The houses were made out of adobe bricks. The 10 families from the Pascua Yaqui Association were the first to settle there. My grandmother's house is the one on the top right, and was the first one built. Homes were built from a farmer's housing grant. Since then, many more houses have been built for both homeowners and renters. Homes are paid for by tribal members, but they are not free. Rent is based on need and ability to pay. Since the organization of the Tribal Council, more land has been added, and we now have over 4,000 people living there. The Pascua Yaqui tribe has only one reservation. All the other communities are just that. When the reservation was established, many chose not to move out and stayed where they were born and raised. The reservation is also not able to sustain all members of the tribe. The communities belong to the city and are just like any other community that pays taxes, rent, or mortgage payments. The Pascua Yaqui tribe is also one of the few that helps its tribal members on and off the reservation. Another example of Yaqui culture is the iconic symbol of the Pascola, who is considered the old man of the fiesta. He is the clown that entertains the community. He is used year-round and is invited to birth, death, marriage ceremonies, and participates in Easter ceremonies as well. There is little information on the Yaqui people before they met the Spanish. Here is a bit of information on what was thought to be a practice in reference to the religion. The symbol is still used widely today in many of traditional regalia, used in many of the cultural societies, whether carved or painted on clothing or necklaces. Over time, the Yaqui have adopted that faith and mixed it with traditions and beliefs often referred to as folk Catholicism. University of Arizona folklorist and anthropologist Dr. James Big Jim Griffith used that term in his class on Southwest folklore at the University of Arizona in 1995. Yaqui did not record many stories. The tradition of storytelling was mostly oral and not written. The Yaqui do not allow many outside people to know or understand any ceremony. There are no pictures, recordings, or paintings allowed of Easter ceremonies or any other than that of the Pascua Society, which is one that is year-round. Paintings are allowed, but not during ceremony at all. There are several books that were written before formal rules were established about who could write about it, take pictures, or decide who had intellectual property rights. There was an early clan system, but after contact with the Spanish, families were recorded through the male line. Because of the complexity of relatives, a person can have a very large extended family. Ceremonial relatives, those that aided in baptism, confirmation, or were part of the ceremonies, are considered family. It is possible to have many grandmothers, grandfathers, cousins, aunts, and uncles outside of the bloodline. They are just as important to the family line. Traditional wear has been addressed for females. It is usually cotton, made out of a top piece and a bottom piece, and embroidered with flowers or bright colors. There is no belt to the dress. For men, it has been simple cotton pullover shirts and cotton pants. Today, men wear hats, long-sleeve button-up shirts with a handkerchief that may or may not be embroidered. The Pascua Yaqui tribe was granted federal recognition on September 18, 1978. During this process in 1980, the tribe established its original base role. Those members enrolled are considered if they are full fourths and not less than 1/4 of Yaqui descent based on the original base role. Each enrolled member is assigned a number kept on record in the tribe's enrollment department that registers all members of the family. It operates very much like a genealogy department. The tribal flag is red, white, and blue with yellow stars, a yellow sun and moon, and a black cross. The red symbolizes the blood shed to protect the people, land, customs, and religion. The white symbolizes the purity of the Pascua Yaqui spirit. The blue symbolizes the sky. The stars represent the cardinal directions east, west, north, and south. It also represents Pascua Yaqui ancestors. The moon represents the mother of all creation. The sun represents the father of all creation. The black cross represents the belief in Catholicism and the belief in religion. The tribal council is made up of 11 elected officials who are elected at large. They are dedicated to the well-being and advancement of the enrolled members of the tribe. Each member is elected at large for a 4-year term. The elected 11 then choose the chairman, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer amongst themselves. The tribal council oversees all government services and tribal enterprises. All 11 members are responsible for the government and members of the tribe on and off the reservation. The revised constitution of the Pascua Yaqui tribe was amended by the registered community members of the Pascua Yaqui tribe on July 14, 2015, and approved by Brian Bowker, Regional Director of the Western Regional Area Office for the Bureau of Indian Affairs on July 24, 2015. This version removes sentencing restrictions in Article 1, gives the tribe the ability to determine its own membership in Article 3, and removed the BIA from the constitutional election process in Article 20. This is an aerial view of the reservation today. It has increased 5 times its original size. The Pascua Yaqui tribe of Arizona government also oversees multiple departments such as health, social services, education, housing, land, public safety, facilities, and many more. The Pascua Yaqui tribe royalty are elected yearly. They must meet strict criteria in order to be considered. Here are some current photos taken from the Yaqui Times, a tribal news publication. Take a moment to review these multiple historical milestones in the Pascua Yaqui history timeline. Since their federal recognition in 1978, the Pascua Yaqui have been able to strengthen and maintain their government, extend land for its members, create enterprises that help sustain its members' services, and continue to thrive into the 21st century. Thanks for taking the time to complete this brief training on the Pascua Yaqui tribe of Arizona. Now, take a moment to briefly review the following slide for reference purposes, then head to topic number 2 and pass the quiz with an 80% or higher in order to receive credit for taking this course.